Greetings, my name's Rich. This is Classic Games Redefined. We're doing yet another video in the Why That Game series, for the lack of a better word. The way these work, if you haven't run into them before, is that they're not necessarily reviews. They're more looking at a design. And you will know by this, I'm not going to give a thumbs down, thumbs up. Usually what I'm going to do here, as I have a reason for covering it, I'm going to actually look into positive reasons why a particular game is of interest to me or others. Why is it popular? And why is it of interest? Why am I even doing this video? That's the point of these series of videos. So what we're looking at here is this game here that we're looking at is The Resistance. And yes, we're using Tabletop Simulator. Saves me you need to get a much more expensive camera. And there's my name, and we'll look at it. And I'm going to explain a little bit about The Resistance. There's a genre of games that maybe you don't know about them called werewolf games, Mafia. In the game, somebody is a hidden traitor. And what you're trying to do in the game is you're trying to figure out who the traitor is, usually. And normally in a werewolf game, there is player elimination. The werewolf will knock people off, and then they'll try to lynch somebody who think it's a werewolf, and people have different roles. And there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of metagaming. If you know in poker about reading people, you get the same thing you have here. So it's actually of interest. It's very intriguing. And that's why a werewolf, which is weak as far as being a game, but interesting as a play mechanic. I mean, as far as an activity, it's very interesting. There's a lot of metagaming between games. You look and see where somebody is and see how they read them. So there's a lot of intrigue that way. Diplomacy is another game. That's probably something I should look at also sometime. But what we're looking at here is the game Resistance. And as far as these werewolf type games, these traitor games, it's one of the better ones. It's a really game. I've played it like once or twice, but I can give you what other people said and what I did. I own it. I own it with the expansions. So that's one thing it has. Again, one of the things it has here, and normally in a werewolf game, you have elimination. So in this game here, there is an elimination. There isn't. You don't have to eliminate players. You normally play through. What you do is that whoever is the boss going on a mission to go ahead and try to accomplish it, he will pick who he thinks is a traitor or isn't a traitor. So that's pretty much what you're looking at. There doesn't have to be player elimination. What I mean by that in werewolf is like every single turn, every single round, there is somebody's getting down until you whittle down. So that's one. There's that. Another thing is that the theme's cool here. This is a post, corporate world, and you have a resistance movement to the corporatocracy. You're trying to do it, and the corporate overlords are sending in a traitor to be in. So it's actually, if you were to do, there would be actually a very interesting world you could do in this. So the theming's pretty good here. And another thing regarding it, what you find typically in a werewolf game, as I said, at Barely Games, this is definitely a structured game approach here. So, anyhow, these are some things to play here. I mean, these are major ones. I think there was another point I had, but those are the ones I made down. Anyhow, this has a few cards, and you're voting yes or no on a mission and going across and doing it. And that's pretty much what it was. And there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of intrigue on it also here. And there's also a certain degree of logically. So it's rather, well, yeah, with werewolf, there's a lot of just meta gaming where you're reading people and everything else. And it's doing this one, the game conditions in the game here ends up actually putting reasons for doing things. So it ends up having a much more tighter structure. So what I do is there'll be a link to the Board Game Geek website. You can go look at other people's reviews on it. Anyhow, it's a very good design. Oh, one more thing I want to add about this here. Werewolf can drag on for hours. This one's a tighter design with less people. So usually you can finish up probably like in an hour or so. Shouldn't take that long. Sometimes it possibly could if you did a lot of stuff with it, but normally, unlike werewolf, it ends quicker. So anyhow, that's it. So check out Werewolf. Check out this. Check out if you don't know anything about werewolf games. Check out another one. Another one is Battlestar Galactica, and that's one other thing I should talk about here. It has really good theming, and everything else. So, but this is a really good game. I recommend checking it out. So, okay, that's about it. I do want to thank you for watching, and may your die always roll 5.